Hello, hi everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes, Isabel, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you, Emil. Hello, hi. Thank you to all of you for joining our webinar session today. Um, my name is Isabel. I'm account manager at Kermi Software, and I'm here together with my colleague Emir, who is technical account manager at Kermi. And together today, we will present you some of the best practices for UC and collaboration administration. These are tips that comes from our market experience. So thank you for joining. You can ask your question directly using our webinar tool. You can write your question. And in second step, you will be able to retrieve this video on our website. So just I will go through a very short introduction of Kermi software first before we go to these 10 tips. We are a French software vendor. We have a kind of a market recognition now because we've been on the market for from 11 to 12 years. We are experts in UC user management, user provisioning, um, expanding internationally at the moment. And one key point we wanted to mention here is that we are natively multi-vendor. So in case your company is using is managing a hybrid environment, you know that with Kermi, it's investing in it's a sustainable investment because our tool will be able to manage different type of technologies. We have a global presence and manage more than 2.5 million users in the world. Let's have a look at a very high-level architecture of Kermi. Kermi in the center is a single and unified interface able to manage, as I said, different type of enterprise communication infrastructure, from unified communication to collaboration tools. Even we are even able to provision user on call centers. And what you see on the left is that the IT administrator can use our solution is quite simple and ergonomic so that the administrator doesn't need to be an expert to use our solution. And for your information, as you can see on the right, we have also a self-care portal, a self-service portal, which is dedicated to the end user so that an end user can ask by himself for new services, can perform some action by himself, like resetting a password or even do some click to call in the company directory, for example. That's for your information. You can also see here at the top of the slide that we are able to do some, I would say, zero-touch provisioning using our Northbound API and with the ability to integrate with ITSM tools. You see some names here. And we are also able to, of course, integrate with Active Directory to retrieve the data from the users. And we can also, of course, use a CSV file to get information. So that's the overview of our architecture. Now, let's go to the topic of today. I mean, the 10 tips based on best practices for for a good UC and collaboration administration. So let's see what can be done to save time and effort on daily provisioning tasks, because I forgot to say, but Kermi is all about saving time and decrease the cost of all these actions which have to be performed around the users. So Emir, if we start by tip number 10, can you please explain this one?
Yes, thank you, Isabel. Yes, so every UC, every unified communication administrator that has to use a vendor like Cisco, Alcatel, maybe Microsoft, has to face several portals that it has to know about. So several forms, several portals. Even if you are using a single vendor like Cisco, for the just basic creation of a telephony user, which is a very basic task, you can have several forms, like 3 to 4 forms, one for the creation of the user, one for the creation of the line, of that user, maybe one for the creation of the phone, and eventually one for the creation of the device profile, which is a Cisco specific feature. And then you have to link all those items together for the user to be able to place his first calls. So these are several portals, and you have to know how to use them to be able to create to do a very basic actions, which would be a user creation. So here, using Kermi, you use only one single portal with as few forms as possible and really easy to learn about. So just 30 minutes of knowledge transfer using Kermi, and you're able to create a user on any vendor that you're using because Kermi is absorbing all the complexity and provide you with one unique portal and as few clicks and as few knowledge as possible required, sorry, to make the move, add, change, and delete, so the day-to-day actions on unified communication systems possible. So single portal instead of several portals.
Okay, thank you, Emir. Tip number 9, it's here about managing efficiently the number ranges. What you can see here on the screen is that Kermi use a very visual interface to allow the administrator to see what numbers are available with what numbers are not available. So using the green and red color, you can also even reserve some numbers for specific people. For example, they are in gray, and you can also choose your lucky numbers using this interface, and that avoids using some Excel files because sometimes companies still use Excel files for the management of number ranges, and this is quite difficult, and it can also lead to errors. So we use this graphical interface, and we are also able to provide with some reports, and show the what numbers are available out of the total number of numbers. So this is for tip number 9, and I'm going to tip number 10.
This
Anticipate.
is tip number 8, Isabel. Sorry.
Yeah, tip number 8. Thank you. Uh, Anticipate operation. So here, behind what you can see on the screen is our feature, which is called the sequencer, and it allows the administrators to perform some action in advance and schedule their operation. It means that if you have like 10 people coming next Monday in your company, and you know that at 10 a.m. in the morning their phone has to be working and everything, their collaborative tool have to work, the help desk or the administrator can perform this action in advance the week before, and make sure that when these people arrive at 10 in the morning, their phone will be up and running. So this is key to manage all the workload for the team. Okay, tip number 7, Emia.
Yes. So you may already have some existing workflows in your company, like probably you're using ticketing tool, ITSM tool, to for your end users to open tickets, to ask for new lines or to ask for new services, or probably you use internal workflows like onboarding workflow that might be in a tool like ServiceNow, which is a leader in the market for that. So if you have an existing onboarding process that enables ServiceNow to push some actions to different teams, like one action to the Active Directory team to create your end user in a corporate directory, and then maybe ServiceNow would send an email to the unified communication team for the creation of the Office 365 license and account for the user, maybe the Outlook account for the email address. So it's several steps that you have, and often it's not automated because it sends email or open tickets in several interfaces for human actions to be done for a user to be onboarded. So the tip here is that you could use the tool to make sure that the workflows are as automated as possible and that it does not require more human actions that it actually needs. I mean, if a system has a ticket which is open with formatted content, with some fields and with some very formatted, yeah, fields and values, then these values could be directly used by a third-party system for the creation to be automated. We'll see an example in the next tips, but here the point is about let the systems communicate between each other instead of putting a human action where it's not necessary.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Tip number 6.
Yeah, me again. Sorry, Isabel.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry,
Yeah,
Emilia.
me again. Yeah, this one is all about having a tool here again that would track all your operation. I mean, here we are talking about MACDs again: move, add, change, and delete, which are basic actions on a UC system. So you're probably using Cisco for telephony, Alcatel, maybe Microsoft, one of those vendors, one of those leaders, and this has several ticketing tools, ticketing not ticketing tools but logging tools in some several portals here again, and it's not easy to have a view of what happened exactly on the platform, what happened. So if a user is not working anymore or has problem with his services or something else, or if there is a yeah any problem happening after an action that has been done on a system, then it's difficult to find what happened exactly. Some of those vendors does not even have a MACD's logging interface, so you cannot know what happened, what who is the admin that performed some action, so we can have exactly what happened and we can fix the error. So it's difficult to find, to track what happened exactly, especially when you have several systems working together, several UC systems. So the tool here is to have an interface that would log exactly what happened on any Maggie. Any move, any add, any change, any delete is tracked and is has a line somewhere in an interface where you can check exactly all the details, the admin account that performed this action, when it has been done, has it been scheduled, has it been approved, and what are the exact impacts on the UC systems that happened after this action. Bonus tip on this 6 is that even if you could roll back an action directly with the tool, if it had caused a problem, then it's even more efficient, because if you found an action that has caused a user some trouble in using his services, then you could roll it back instantly and fix the problem in no time. So tip number 6 is all about tracking all the MACDs to make the system as clear as possible when you want to see what exactly happened and what are the impacts on your several systems.
Okay. Um, Tip number 5 is about reporting. Report your activities and resources. There is a specific reporting menu in Kermi where you can do some graph and get some reports on any MACDs that has been performed in the system, and also have a look and know all the objects that are managed by Kermi, like devices, for example. So you can do a lot of different type of reports, and that's very key for you to manage your environment. And also, in case your management is asking you for a report, this is definitely very easy to get it from our solution. Let's go to tip number 4, and here now we'll have uh, a two-way approach looking at the solution itself, with Emir showing it to you in a demo.
Yeah, so let's go to tip 4, which is all about defining user profiles. I mean, on a day-to-day basis, when you create users on, again, vendor like Cisco, Microsoft, so on, then you have to create a user which is at least a bit industrialized. I mean, when you create user, you do not redefine each time how you would create the user. You often have a procedure that allows you to create a standard user, maybe a more advanced user, a user that has specific services for mobility, and so on. So you have those profiles that are defined, and a good tip, a good practice here is to put those profiles in a tool that would easily allow the deployment of those profiles. So that would record all the best practices that are the exact way you create a user profile, and then be able to replicate this as much as you need in no clicks, in as less clicks as possible. So let's have a look at on how to do this in Kermi. So sharing, screen sharing, and here it is. Okay, Isabel, can you just confirm that you see my Kermi platform?
Yes, yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Isabel. So here is my Kermi Unified Provisioning Platform. This is my homepage, but let's go to the place where you can find the user profile definition, which is under configuration here in the left menu, and packages. So the profiles are what we call packages in Kermi. And here you can see this is Cisco-based demonstration. It's fully Cisco for your information. In case you have other vendors, of course, you would have more lines in my table to activate services in different vendors' ecosystems. This demo is fully Cisco-based. Each column in that table is what we call a package. It's a user profile. So to add more packages, we have a plus button here to add a new column here, and then each for each service I want to add to my profile, I just have to go here instead in front of my service, like Cisco Jabber for Android, for example. Click on that plus button, and then it will next time I will create a standard user, it will add this service configuration to my user profile. And these are profiles definition: how to create a standard user, how to create an advanced user, how to create an agent for a contact center, and you define here what services are inside. And then it's really easy to use these profiles here to enable like a one-click creation of your users. It's very pretty much simple. It's pretty much simpler to have those profiles than to be able to standardize and deploy easily new users configuration. It's also very useful when you want to deploy in bulk, create in bulk new users. So you know exactly how those users will be created because you will choose what profile they will have. So tip number number how much exactly? Number four, tip number four was here defining user profiles because it is a lot the creation and the modification on a day-to-day basis. Next one is also for me is we are entering in the top three of tips, so it gets very important. Let's go to next one. Define the company site's organization. Number three. So here, this tip is all about having your hierarchy, your sites, the sites of your companies, your geographical locations, to be more precise, implemented somewhere in a tool that would also uh, know about the best practices of creation or specificities of creation, modification, and deletion of users in specific geographical regions. I mean, even if you have a centralized team that is managing your UC environment, it's you do not necessarily have exactly the same way to configure your users in your across your all your geographical locations of your company. What I mean is, let's say you're a company that has a site, a geographical location in New York, some offices in New York, and some offices in Paris. So maybe you're deploying Office 365 in New York on top of the Cisco telephony, and maybe Paris has not yet. You are using only Cisco telephony system. So you have two different ecosystems. You should have a tool that would know that in the geographical location of New York, you have more services to activate. Automation of Cisco configuration plus automation of Office 365 configuration in New York. In Paris, the system should know that if you provision a user, it will only provision Cisco because Office 365 is not deployed yet. So here, creating a company organization is all about making sure your tool knows about the company's specificities in each geographical location, and automate those processes, those best practices. Let's have a look in Kermit. It's really easy make this in place. So it's again under configuration here. It's under hierarchy here, not packages, hierarchy. That's where you create your departments here. So this will load my departments in my company. We can see that if I just here sort. I have a root department, then I have France, then I have France Paris, and same I have USA and USA Miami or New York City. And here I can define for each department what are the specifics of the configuration in the dictionary values and in the number ranges menu, where I can define for each of my department what are the specifics and what are the ranges of numbers that will be used for each of those departments. So you can create as many levels as you require in Chrome Unified Provisioning, for example. So first root department, then you can use a country level, then a city level. If you would like, you can use world and then EMEA, Americas. It's really up to you to design your hierarchy the way you want it. So you can go to the building or to the room if you would like. So any sub levels as required. So it was the third tips. We're entering the top three. Defining your site's organization so you can make sure that your tool knows how to create a user, modifying a user or any resources, taking into account the geographical specifics. Tip number two, enabling administrator and user delegation. So here again, very useful when you have a company which is across a country, across the world, and you do not want your central engineers, your central administrators, to have all the workload regarding the UC management on a day-to-day basis. Maybe you want to. We have lots of customer inquiry. Our knowledge of the market shows that often the customers wants to delegate part of the administrations, of course, in a geographically delegated way with some restrictions, of course, to local administrators. So let's say you're a French company like us, Kermi, and you have your central administration of your Office 365 tenant, of your Cisco CUCM, of your telephony Alcatel Oxy, for example. You have a central team in Paris, but you provide telephony for Germany, for USA, for UK, and for Italy. Then you don't want to have calls from Germany, from Italy, from USA all day long for changes, for basic changes like please create this new user, please create this new line, please add me a Jibber account there, please. You don't want that. So what you want to do here is to give an account to your local administrator, the Italy guy, the Germany guy, the US guy. You give him an account and make sure that this account is locked on his own scope and not more. So you make sure that this account can only modify, create, and change resources inside his geographical scope and not more, which is very important because you don't want the Italy guy to be able to modify some resources in the US and the opposite also. So to create this, in Kermi we have, let's take a look at the solution. Under the hierarchy menu, again, we have those departments. And for the departments, we can create what we call department admins. So department admins are basically administrator account. I have only one on my platform, which is the guy from the US. This is a local admin from the US. And so this define the geographical location that is assigned to my admin, Johnny here. And also, what I also have in this hierarchy menu is what we call the admin profiles. And these admin profiles here define what is the rights that Johnny will have on the platform. So is Johnny able to change the packages, for example? Maybe I don't want that. Maybe I want Johnny, the US person, to be able to create standard admins and agents, but not to modify how to create an agent. So I would like Johnny not to be able to add more services to an agent. I want to leave that to the central team. That is why inside the admin profile of Johnny, I will make sure that this packages menu is not available. So here the tip, again, the tip is enable your administrator delegation, but not enabling only an admin, making sure that this admin is acting inside his scope and not more. Just have a quick look on the substitution button here, which allows me to place myself as a super admin, as an admin of lower level. And what you can see here is that here I have only the users. I just add a quick filter here on the located department. I can only see the user from New York City, and I have no user from France, no user from France at all because it's not my scope. So the profile here is restricted. Just a quick word about end user delegation. Here again, it's more about giving an account to end users for them to be able to perform some very basic actions, so they don't need to call the help desk for resetting a voicemail pin code, for resetting a password somewhere, for maybe adding a call forward, adding speed dials to a phone. All those basic actions, you want to delegate this to end user so they don't have to call the help desk each time they have basic actions to perform. So you can also give them a portal. And in Term Unified Provisioning, we do have a portal for both creating those admin account and profile, as you just saw, and also a portal which is very intuitive and easy to use for end users to make basic actions. And let's finish with tip number one. Here it is, which is automating the user onboarding process. I had a few words about this one, but it's very, I would say it's a very important one because if you use tip number 5, for example, to get the reports and your activities, you would notice. Oh, very often you will notice that user creation are very common action that you do a lot on a day-to-day basis, especially if you're a large company with lots of new joiners. You're growing, you have lots of new joiners. So automating the onboarding of a user is very important because it's something you do a lot on a day-to-day basis. So the more easy it is, the more time you will save doing this. So let's have a look in Kermi on how to use those profile mechanisms that you discovered on tip 4, and the fact that you have one unique portal to create a user, and see how the onboarding process can be automated. Let's have a look. So I'll go back to my admin account. Under daily management, I'll open the directory because here I will create a user from my Active Directory. So I'll import a user from my Active Directory. Let's remove all the filters. I select a user which is in to create, meaning this user has just been added to the Active Directory, just been created in the corporate directory. So new joiner, James Brown. Let's create James Brown. I'm a big fan. So here I have just a very field view on where is James Brown, what are the information that are going to be imported from the directory, which is in this case an open LDAP, but of course works with Active Directory too. And here I can open that quick create form, which is the one single form where I'm going to select the package. So this is where I select standard advanced agent. Let's say I want to modify this. I want to put James Brown in New York City because it's going to move. Here it is. And I have very few fields to fill in that I can fill in or leave it as is because it's fully automated here. The purpose of Kermi is that you let you automate all the values on how to create a standard user. So you don't have to touch anything. You can tweak options or not. Here, for example, I will remove the line group options. I don't want to add James to a line group. Here I can have a look at the numbers, the state of my range. Here, this Kermi automatically put this one, which is the first one available on the New York City range. But let's say I want to pick up one lucky number, as Isabel said, which is mine is this one. And then I can click on apply. And now Kermi is pushing the configuration to the CUCM in that case because it's talking to Cisco here to create James Brown. And it's done. So 2 clicks or just a bit more. I select the user to create, quick create button. Then I make sure this number is okay for me or I change it. I click on apply and it's done. It's like 30-second maximum. Oh, it's 30 minutes. I'm talking too much. Sorry. So let's go to the next one.
Yeah. And then after you have several questions, Emia.
Okay, so yeah,
Okay.
I'll spend more time. I'm sorry for people that I yeah, that I'm spending too much time talking. Sorry, Isabel, I'll let you comment on this one, or is it mine?
I can do it. So it's here showing you that in in terms of process for user onboarding, when you don't have any tool and you are doing the action manually, you can spend 25, 30 minutes per action for a complex creation, for a first setup of a user, for a first creation. Then with Kermi, it's very quick, as you can see, and you can just spend 3 minutes per creation, for example. So it's just all about time saving here, and of course reducing the cost, and have your team focusing on project with more value than performing the simple MACDs or changing the name of someone who just got married, things like that. So that's of course the aim of our solution. I leave you the last one, and then we go to the questions.
Yes,
Emina.
I'll do it quick. Thank you, Isabel. So yeah, as you saw here, 30 minutes is when you have very complex organization using several portals, using PDF files to understand how it works to create a user. When you use a tool that automates everything, it's less than 3 minutes. As you saw, we had just created a user together on a Cisco CUCM and with a standard package in like 30 seconds. So yeah, you can save a lot of time using all those tips we're presenting today. Um, so quickly, what you saw today is that you can enable all those tips, all those 10 tips in using the solution that we do provide to our market, to our customers, which is Kermi Unified Provisioning, a very powerful solution. It brings automation. So your admins does not know how to, just this. They don't have to know how to do, because it's very simple using Kermi to enable new configurations. It's very intuitive. So you click on creation, then you tweak a few options, you click on apply. If you don't know exactly what you're doing because maybe you're new and you didn't have lots of knowledge transfer, you don't know about Cisco, you don't know about Microsoft, it's not a problem. You just select your package in Kermi, select your user profile, click on apply, and the solution does everything for you. So bringing automation is something that brings a lot of efficiency and saves a lot of time. Ubiquity is all about having one portal, one single solution for your several solutions you're using. Office 365, Cisco, Alcatel, Avaya, all ServiceNow somewhere, Active Directory somewhere else. So all those guys, making them talking together using Kermi on top of it. So you don't have to have several accounts, several portals. You don't have to open flows everywhere if you're are a worldwide organization. You have Ubiquity using a Kermi Unified Provisioning solution. It's collaborative because any admin across the organization can have an account, and any admin does not lock the solution of the configuration for other admins on the company. So if, for example, you're using an Excel file for phone numbers assignation, you may have experienced in your administrator life that the file is locked by some of the admins somewhere, and then you cannot open it or you cannot modify it to add your numbers. So this, using Kermi, you avoid this. Any account, any admin has an account which is nominative, which has its own parameters, and this is a very collaborative solution for the provisioning. It's very simple. I commented it when I commented the automation, because knowledge transfer is very quick in Kermi. You just have a few clicks to know to perform 80% of the actions you need on the day-to-day basis. Very simple to understand. And it's secured because everything is the platform is using HTTPS. All the flows are encrypted to any solutions that Kermi is managing, and you have those tracking and logging of operation in Kermi, making sure that you have the end on the impact and on the security, on the tracking and the security part of the use of your management system. So I hope it was. I hope those 10 tips will be useful for you. Now we are going to cover the Q&A. I'm sorry to have talked too much, but I hope it was useful. Uh,
Okay. Yeah.
so let's go to the Q&A. Um, uh, where can I find the questions inside of the webinar interface? Sorry.
Yeah, in the webinar interface, yeah, on the chat and question part.
Okay,
So you can stop sharing if you, or maybe you will need to share later on the
great.
solution.
So
Okay.
questions. So we have questions. Oh yeah, you have lots of
Yeah.
questions. Okay. So first question, can you keep existing administration portals alongside Kermi for flexibility and deeper configuration? Yes, you can. Of course, you can continue using the CUCM interface or the vendor interface for actions that you know your engineers know best how to perform those actions in the CUCM or in the vendor portal. What we often recommend is not to provide an account to the final system to any admin on the platform, only the main experts, only the main engineers, so they can perform their advanced actions directly in the system, not using Kermi, but not all the admins. It's not a problem because Kermi will then discover the changes that has been done. So it's not a problem. It works this way. Second question, what API is available for Kermi and what are its limitations? The API, we have a northbound API, which can be used by ServiceNow, for example, or any ITSM, or any tool actually that is able to use an API. You can send requests to Kermi that covers almost all the features that you can perform by hand in the graphical interface. You can do it through API. So user creation, options enablement, deletion of users, bulk actions, everything, almost everything. So up to 95% of actions you can do by clicks, you can use it through the API. So almost everything is doable using the Kermi APIs, Northbound APIs, commented by third-party systems. Could be your intranet, could be a ServiceNow platform, could be a BMC Remedy ticketing tool. Up to you here. Which Unity options? I'm guessing we're talking about Cisco Unity Connection, which is the voicemail of the Cisco suite, are supported by Kermi. Almost all the fields here again, up to 97%, 97 or 98, or maybe 99 of the fields are supported in Unity Connection by Kermi natively. So we address almost all the fields. So if you have an action that exists in Unity that you can do by hand, and then you can use it. You can do it using Kermi. You can automate how Kermi will address the Unity field. So except if it's one of the 1% fields that we do not cover, but here again we make sure that we cover the most used, the nine more than 97% most used fields. What bulk administration options are available? Almost anything here again. So you can create phones in bulk, you can create lines in bulk, pickup groups, line groups, any resources on a telephony system or on an Office 365 environment, any resources that you can create in a unitary way, you can bulk, you can do it in bulk. You can use CSV or Excel files so that you can download the template from Kermi. You download the template, then you fill in your CSV or Excel file in Excel or any other tool, and then you push it back to Kermi and it does the bulk actions. Could be bulk creation of users, of phones, of lines, of any object, of of voicemails, and you can do bulk changes also, bulk moves. So migration from geographical location A to location B. This can be done in bulk too, and of course bulk deletion is also supported. Next question. Is there a demo available where you can browse and explore the full canon of features? The demo available, probably you mean a demo that you can play on your own. There is no platform that is available for people to play on their own on Kermi, but we do have the demo request where you can on our website, where if you request a demo, I will be with you, or depending on your geographical location, could be someone else in our company, one of my colleagues that will spend 1 hour with you talking about the solution and make you cover all the features that you want to cover on the Kermi platform. So no demo that you can play on your own, but you can have 1 hour upon request on our website. It's a very simple form. to ask for a demo, and you have 1 hour for you, especially with one of the technical account manager team in Kermi. Next question, could you please elaborate more on API offered by Kermi to integrate business process? I think I did on a previous question when I covered the API available. But what I can suggest is also to use the YouTube channel of Kermi. The Kermi YouTube channel, you just have to go on YouTube search bar, and then you type Kermi Unified Provisioning or just Kermi and ServiceNow. And if you type that, you will find a video where it's an English video, English commented video, where you find one of our colleagues in the US commenting how to use Kermi to perform an integration between ServiceNow and Kermi. This one, this could be give you very lots of details on how it works to use a Kermi API. It gives an example, it gives some diagrams to better understand. So I suggest you use the YouTube channel to cover this topic. Next question, Kermi will cover only MACDIS changes of phone profiles, or do we have additional features like VM and groups? Yes, you do. Yes, it's not only about MACDIS for phones and profile. It provides features for the creation of voicemails, hand groups, any resource that are part of the vendors that we cover can be created, modified, deleted. So everything is handled. It's not all about users, phones, and profile. It's about all the components that you would have to manage on your vendor's platform. Hand groups, VMs, pickup groups, and so on. All these are covered. Question, can we get a recording of this webinar? Yes, this webinar will be recorded, and maybe Isabel, do you know how the
Yes.
recording will be
Yeah.
provided to our
It will be available on our website. So
website? Thank
yeah,
you.
you can
Yes, you
retrieve it
mentioned
on
it.
our website. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. You mentioned it in introduction. Yes. So yes, it will be available on our website, and probably you will get an email. Uh, I hope so.
Yes. 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 To an email to a link to that video. Yes.
Yes, great. Oh yeah,
Okay.
you answered, Isabel. I can see. So yeah, next question. I'm rushing a bit. Sorry.
Yeah, you still have some question in the question part. So you have two here, and then again in the
Yeah.
question part. Yeah.
So I'll cover the question, and it will be part of the recording. So if you have to leave, I understand. I'm, yeah, the webinar is taking longer than expected. So yeah, if you have to leave, the recording will be here. I'll answer all the questions. So can Kermi provide automatic onboarding of boarding based on AD data without admin action? Yes, yes. Here again, I did not. I was it was one of our tips, which is simplify the process workflow. Process workflow could exactly be creation of a user from an Active Directory discovery. So you can set up, for example, in Kermi a planned job, which would gather information from an Active Directory every night, midnight, for example, and then Kermi will discover new joiners, new users in the Active Directory. And based on this event, we could put a trigger in Kermi that would automatically create based on the context. So the Active Directory contains the first name, last name, user ID, and geographical location. Based on all that, Kermi could take the take the action, automatically to say, okay, this is a New York City user. The name is this one, the user ID in this one. Then I'll put a standard profile on this, and this is done in a fully automated way without any admin to touch anything. It's called the auto creation. I'll just cover this real quick. If I go here to the discovery, you can see that I have a to create here, which becomes okay when I create the user. If you want to enable the user creation automatically, then this to create state will never exist because it will go to okay as soon as it's discovered from the Active Directory. And let's click on HANA here. You can see that we have an option which is auto creation, which is put to no on my demo platform because I wanted to be able to show you how to do this using the Kermi platform. But the auto creation on auto deletion based on LDAP is a feature that is available. Next question, can you schedule the provisioning of user after hours? Yes, Yes, exactly. You can do that. This is one of the feature that Isabel showed. It was tip number 8. Anticipate operations. Real quick creation here of Hannah. At the end of my form, and at the end of all the forms in Kermi, I have the scheduling part here where I can select add a future date. This is for unitary action, but you have exactly the same scheduling button for bulk actions where you can click add a future date and you open the calendar and you select exactly when this operation will happen. So then when you click on apply here, it's not done instantly, but it's done at the specific hour you just mentioned. Oh, someone is saying I'm not sharing. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
sorry, you were showing something, I guess, but we didn't see the
Oh
scheduler
yeah.
part.
I was not sharing. Yeah. So I'll share real quick. I need to share. Important. Here it is. Now I'm sharing. So here is
Yes, it works.
yeah. What I mentioned is that to create state, I clicked here and I said if I enable this auto creation, then it does not goes to the to create state here because it goes right directly to OK when it's discovered from an Active Directory because it's created by default when discovered with a standard profile or any profile you want. So if this auto creation feature is activated, you don't have you don't have that to create flag. It's done automatically. So this was the first thing I showed. The second thing I tried to show when I was not sharing is the scheduler. So let's click here on quick create. I have this scheduling here part on each form, unitary or bulk, where I can select if the processing is immediate or in the future. If it's in the future, I have this date and an hour selector where I can click on OK, and then I click on apply, and the action will be done at this specific time. Thank you for telling me I was not sharing. Sorry, Isabel. Okay, so next question. Related to automatic onboarding of boarding question, would that cover also automatic deletion of users who have been terminated? Oh, the word is a bit tough here. Users that has been terminated is a bit it's a company that is a bit tough. But yeah, uh, but yeah, you can have automatic deletion in case you terminate users. It's right here, uh, and just right under that
Share
button.
again, Emir, share again.
Yes, it's right under that button here on my directory menu to create Jean, for example. Here, auto creation is available, auto deletion is also available. It's put to no in my demo platform because for the webinar, I wanted to show you how it works using the graphical interface. In case you don't want to use the graphical interface and automate everything, you have auto creation, auto deletion. So onboarding and offboarding are done automatically. And if it's manual, you can see that I have both OK to create and to delete states. So this one has left the company, is not in the directory anymore. It's flagged as to delete in Kermi. This one is new in the Active Directory, but has no profile yet, so no package yet in Kermi. It's in to create. Okay, let's move to the next question. Uh, no, no, so it's me joking. You're not being brutal. You're saying you're being brutal. You're not.
Can
You're
you
not.
can you go to question, Emir? There are some there as well.
Yes. Okay. So we covered the question in the chat part. So
Yeah,
thank you. I'll now go to the question tab. Oh, we have more questions.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So next question. Can you restrict the menu to the left for special types of administrator? For example, specific department admin can just see user. Yes, exactly. That is exactly tip number what? That was tip number 3 actually. Define the company. No, this was tip number 3 was define the company's organization. It was tip number 2, enable admins and end user delegation, where you can define what we call admin profiles. An admin profile would set the exact view of your your administrator that you're creating. Say if you are putting an admin in a restricted profile or read-only profile, or even a profile that where the packages or some dashboards are not available, then your admins, when you will log into the Kermi platform, will have a restricted left menu with not all the options that a super admin can have. So yes, restriction is both based on geographical location, so the admin will only see his geographical his resources part of his geographical scope and not more, and also have features that it depends on his admin profile. So of course, if he's an engineer or if he is an help desk person, it will not have the same rights on the current platform. You will be able to put lots of restrictions on help desk people that have very basic actions to perform, and very few restrictions on engineer, or no restrictions on engineer, because they can do what they want. Actually, they know exactly the system and how it works. Next question. Can we change something on CUCM and then have this change in Kermi? Yes. So I covered the question, just a few words on that. Yes, if you still use the CUCM, Cisco, while you're using Kermi, then Kermi will rediscover the change that you performed in the CUCM. Because Kermi has by default a plan job that runs every day, and this plan job will make sure that Kermi is having the last updated information from CUCM. So it's a kind of an audit process where Kermi makes sure that his data and its data and the CUCM data are the same. So yes, you can still use the CUCM. We often do not recommend this using a lot the CUCM when you have a tool like Kermi, but you can have it for your engineers, for example. If you want some engineers to keep using the CUCM for some reason, you can have this. You can have this, and then Kermi will discover what they do. Next question, can we have access to system call handlers via Kermi? Yes, you can have access to those objects. Lots of objects are covered for Cisco. Almost all the objects, actually. Not almost, all the objects are covered. Not all the fields, almost all the fields, but all the objects. Can customer have access to Kermi API? Yes. Yes, it's a license, but yes, you just have to buy the Kermi API license or the module, and then yes, you have access to the API, and you don't need us to develop your own interaction with Kermi. So we have customers that develop their own interaction from their intranet to Kermi, for example. So they have in their intranet communicating with Kermi to perform actions from their own intranet. Or even we have customers that perform on their own integration between their ServiceNow instance and Kermi. So they automated their process on their side without Kermi intervention because they have the Kermi API license. So yes, you have the documented API, and you have full access to it. Last question, and then I'll go back to the chat because I think they have more questions in the chat.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I'll finish with the question tab, and I'll go back to the chat. So last question in the question tab: do admins can use script to add user? Yes, but I'm not sure I understand this one because yeah, admin can use script to add user, but Kermi provides a very simple way to add users. So scripts would not be required when using Kermi, or maybe I'm not sure I get the question here. But yeah, you could use scripts, of course, but using Kermi, it allows you to have your actions of adding users in a very few clicks and in a very efficient way. So yeah, using Kermi would make scripts unnecessary in that case. But let's say you're using Microsoft environment and you have PowerShell scripts that you already written for automation reasons, then you can have these scripts put under the Kermi graphical interface, so you can reuse those scripts and delegate those scripts to local administrations in your geographical locations. So you can reuse existing scripts and putting those scripts under the Kermi graphical interface for an easier access for people that are non-experts and using Kermi, like help desk people, for example. Let's go back to the chat now. Um, yeah, so can you, next question, can you precise more the option advertise globally via ILS? Yeah. If the option advertise globally via ILS is This one I have to check. Sorry, I cannot answer live because I have to check the documentation here to make sure that this option is available. If I understand, if it might be a Cisco option, I have to check in our doc if this one is available. But I think it is. If it's a CUCM field, should be. But here I need to check. So I'll take this question. Just take the question and get back to you. Just taking a screenshot so I don't forget. Oh, sorry. I get this. I get the screenshot. Thank you for the question. So I'll cover it later after checking the documentation. Next question. Oh, thank you. You gave the context. Oh, sorry. The yeah, it's not the next question. So the next question, the next chat was giving more details on the advertised global ILS. So yes, if it's a line configuration parameter, I am pretty sure that this is covered by Kermi because all the line fields in the CUCM are natively covered. So this answers the question. Thank you. Thank you for the precision, the details. Last question for now is which change is more value? What? Which change is more value? This in CUCM or this in Kermi? Um, Let me read the question again. We change. Um, I I'm
Can you?
not sure I get the maybe Isabel you
Yeah,
get the
maybe Jan, you could rephrase it. Sorry.
if you're probably asking if I understand the question what change should be done in Kirby and what change should be done in CUCM. What is better to do?
Or which one is the has more value than the
As more.
other? You know, like if we do a change in CUCM, does it?
Oh, I'm not
Okay,
okay.
no, no. Sorry,
So
he
I'll
says
let.
no, no. I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm getting confused. He says no, no.
Yeah,
So I don't
okay.
know. Jans, maybe you could rephrase.
Yes, Jan is typing. Maybe we have another version of the question. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So if you okay, so if you change something in the CUCM, yeah,
And then in Kermi,
yeah. Oh yeah, I get it now because also we had details from Jacob. Oh
yeah,
yeah. So which it takes precedence. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I get this. It's a very good question here. So, yeah, if you change something in the CUCM and then you try to change the exact same thing using Kermi, which is going to, okay, will they change? Yeah, okay. So you have several cases here. First thing, if you change something in the CUCM, so let's say username, and then you try to change the same username in Kermi, then Kermi will push and erase what has been done in the CUCM. By default, it's what is going to be done. So if it's done in the same day also, so same object, same day, first you do this in the CUCM, second you do this in Kermi. Kermi will not have this sync because it's the exact same day, just it's maybe 30 minutes after. It's the same day. So the sync, the audit between Kermi and the CUCM would not have happened yet. So Kermi would not know what you did in the CUCM on this specific value and will erase the value in the CUCM because we'll think, because it has been done after, it will think that it's something that you want to apply now. So it will apply it directly. Uh, if you want to avoid this kind of behavior, you can. In Kermi, we have what we call a safe mode. And the safe mode is where you know you're modifying same stuff in the CUCM and in the Kermi too. And safe mode would ask each time you perform an action, would try to audit the specific object. So in case you enable safe mode, an audit, you want to change a name in the CUCM. Before Kermi changes the name, it will check if its value in the Kermi database is consistent with the value in the CUCM. And if it's the case, the action will be performed. If it's not the case, if there is a difference, Kermi will ask you the question. It will ask, there is a difference between the value I do have currently and the value that is in the CUCM. What do you want? Do you want Kermi to push what you just asked, or do you want the CUCM to erase what's in Kermi? So this is when you enable the safe mode to make sure that you can do this if you perform actions both ways. Part of your actions in the CUCM, part of your actions in Kermi. If you do this, if you have to do this for reasons, for some reasons of yours, then safe mode could be valuable. Okay, next question. How often does Kermi sync with this UCM? Is it configurable? By default, we configure every night. And yes, it is configurable. So but every night is especially for big companies. So for big companies, that has very large user base, like maybe 10,000 user base, we put this one time a day because it takes time. The audit takes time. It can take 1 hour, several hours, depending on the complexity of the system. So one time a day. If you are a company that has a smaller size than 10,000 end users, then you could put this to every 8 hours, for example. It's really up to you. It is configurable. So to answer the question directly, yes, it's configurable, and yeah, it's not a fixed value. And again, it's not only with the CUCM. So we're talking a lot about Cisco now because the questions are Cisco oriented, but it works with all the systems, all the vendors, Alcatel, yeah, Microsoft, so on. Can we have access to Kermi documentation? Yes, you can. There is an extranet, and you can apply directly in extranet.kermi-software.com. And if you use this, you can require an access to the Kermi intranet, and you can get lots of Kermi documentation. Last, next question. I'm saying last because for now it's the last. But if there are more, I'll cover the questions too. Is there any type of actions which are prohibited on CUCM due to conflicts with Kermi, as it would break the integration between products? No, no. There is no action prohibited on CUCM due to conflict with Kermi. No. In any case, you have lots of mechanisms that can prevent conflicts. So no, not as far as I know, there is no prohibited, nothing that is prohibited. Anything can be changed using the. In case of CUCM, they are providing a protocol which is AXL, and AXL is the official third-party protocol for the management of CUCM. Everything can be addressed. So no risk of conflicts with Kermi, especially in case you make sure that you have the proper mechanisms enabled to audit safe mode eventually. Um, Okay, another question. Not a problem, Jacob. Please feel free. You're making this webinar like very useful. It gets a Q&A that takes as long as the webinar itself, so it's very good. I'm happy now. So not a problem. Yeah. So can we reach out somehow if we have further questions? Of course, about Kermi and Cisco integration. Yes, of course. So again, we have on the website a place where you can ask for a demo. It's very easy to find. I think you can use your preferred search engine, type ask for a
Emir,
demo. Yeah.
just a word on this. This afternoon, you will get a link sent by our marketing team where you'll have the link to the video of today and also a link to ask for a demo to our team. So that will be easy. And
Yeah.
also a place where you can ask other questions. So that will be sent this afternoon. Yeah.
Great. And you can maybe if we can, I'll share the screen again so you can see that you can have our contacts in case it's necessary. It's here.
Can yeah.
Here it is. Oh, we don't have our contact. See, yes, we do. It's at the
The
beginning,
first slide. Yeah.
first slide. So you
Yeah.
can get you can have a screen. You can screen capture this. We have our email addresses here in case you want this. You want to connect. You can use my contact for more technical questions. Questions regarding CUCM Kermi integration. You can use my account. So I'll leave it on screen. So you can screen capture it if you want and use our email address. And Isabel, it's more for a general question on the product and commercial questions.
Okay. Last question, Emir.
Okay,
You
so
still have one?
yeah. So in case you don't have time to take a screen capture, as Isabel said, you'll get an email this afternoon, and you can get in touch with us pretty much directly. It's very easy to find us. Last question. You're welcome, Jacob. Thank you for your questions. It was I was happy answering all those questions, and thank you for your interest. I appreciate it too. Another question. So, is there an integration between CUAC, Cisco Advanced Add-on Console, and Kermi? Nope, there is no integration, and I'll explain why. This is a choice from our product department not to have integration with this. This is because we do consider that CUAC, so CUAC move at change and deletes, so CUAC changes are very rare. They do not happen often. So you do not create every day add-on consoles, and you do not provide lots of modifications on add-on consoles on a day-to-day basis. So we do consider, our product team considers that it's not so necessary to automate and have profiles on this. Of course, if you would want to focus on this, we could create this integration, but for now it's not the case because we're focusing on more value-added operations that are done a lot on a day-to-day basis. Because what we want to do is more automate the actions that will save you as a customer, that will save our customer the most time. And CUAC has not been identified as an action that takes a lot of time to configure on an admin's life. Great. So I answered the last question about CUAC. Thank you again, everyone, for your participation in the Q&A. It was the I think the biggest Q&A of my webinar's life. Thank you. I appreciate it a lot. I appreciate it a lot. I'm feeling useful today. Thank you guys very much. And I hope now it's a pretty much bigger webinar than expected. Thank you. Thank you for your interest again. Maybe Isabel, I'll let you conclude.
No, thank you all for your time and question. I think some of you still have questions, so please contact us for a longer demo dedicated to your environment. Yeah, so we'll be more specific. Have a nice day all, and we hope to have you on over the phone soon and be able to exchange further. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your interest, and talk to you very soon by other channels. Thank you. Thank you again.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye.